Do you want to see the most addictive thing I own? And no, I do not have any illegal substance such as cocaine. In fact, it is this. Yes, this is what you think it is. This is sugar. But how can that be? We have heard many tales of drug abuse, drug addiction, and the adverse effects of drugs on the human body. It would seem extremely unlikely that such a widely accepted thing such as sugar be addictive and lethal. Well, I guess you haven't heard of diabetes then. Sugar was first thought to have been cultivated in northern India from the sugarcane plant in the 3rd century BC. And this is partly the reason why you can easily access sugar without going into a dark alleyway in the middle of the night. The Portuguese invaded India and sugar was spread throughout the world. And they used it to sweeten food and drink, and that is the same reason we still use it. Drugs that we now know of today were actually discovered quite recently, with amphetamine in 1887, methamphetamine in 1893, LSD in 1938, and fentanyl in 1960. So this is kind of the reason why they were banned, because back then drugs weren't used for their recreational purposes. They were used for medicines and they were used in small quantities. So there weren't any problems back then. But now we use it for recreational use, and there can be overdoses of these things, which makes them pretty dangerous. So what can we say for sugar? Well, research has been conducted in the University of Bordeaux in France. 50 lab rats were given 2 options: a dose of the good stuff or some few drops of sugar water. Before the experiment, each rat was given both to see which one it preferred. During the experiment, almost all the rats preferred the sugar water, even when the cocaine was increased. So I guess humans and rats aren't so different after all. Researchers and scientists say that sugar is more addictive than cocaine and heroin, and rats experienced some withdrawal symptoms that we can also see in people who take drugs and stop abruptly. So boom bada bing, sugar is now officially a drug. So yes, that makes most humans major drug addicts. If that thought scares you, don't worry, I have just the solution. You have heard of advertisements going on about exercising, but if you're lazy like me, then you'd want another option. I have just the thing. Instead of exercising, you could cut down on processed foods. And what are processed foods? How can you identify them? Anything that has a list of ingredients is processed. And processed foods contain carbohydrates and fats. So what is the sugar we eat on a daily basis? This is called sucrose. Fruits have fructose. Fructose is okay to eat, but sucrose not so much. And it is also important to note that if you take drastic measures into reducing your sugar intake all of a sudden, then you would experience symptoms such as laziness and the inability to function properly, and your brain will beg you for sugar. So it is important that you take it one step at a time. So until next time, I will see you. Master Curious signing out.